Hello, welcome to Issues and Ideas. I'm Chris DeBello. Well, we are a week into the month of December, which means there's 3 weeks left for everyone down in Washington, Congress, and the White House to agree on what to do with the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Because at the end of the year, end of this month, they go away unless some kind of action is taken. What that would mean for you is you would see your premium payments more than double. Average increase about 114%. That would be due to both the loss of financial assistance and the insurers are going to hike premiums just to add to the torture. Look ahead to what might actually unfold in dollars and cents. Average premium increase, according to a KFF analysis, the average premium payment for a subsidized household could go from $888 to $1,994. When it comes to loss of premium caps, the enhanced tax credit capped how much of your income subsidized enrollees had to spend on premiums. Without that, middle-income families could see costs more than double, and some with lower incomes who currently pay little or nothing, you could once again face charges again to get the health insurance that you've been getting. When it comes to loss of eligibility, they call it the subsidy cliff, which was eliminated by the enhanced credits. That would come back. So this would remove financial assistance for households earning more than 400% of the federal poverty level if their benchmark premiums exceed 8.5% of their income. For example, a 60-year-old couple earning $85,000, you would see your annual premiums increase by $24,500. But you had insurers' rate hikes beyond the loss of subsidies. Insurers are also raising their base premium rates. They're saying increased health care costs, potential for healthier individuals to drop coverage with all this going on, leading to what would be a worse risk pool as far as they're concerned. Now, state by state, this, of course, is going to vary. We're here in New Jersey, but if you're listening on the podcast, it could be more, it could be less, but it is going to be more costly. There's no way of getting out of that if there's no action taken. This past week, Senator Schumer did say that Democrats are going to force a vote this coming week on a bill that would extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits and prevent health insurance premiums from going up. Said it would be a clean 3-year extension of the ACA funds. This first passed back in 2021. It would be to cap premiums for an average marketplace plan to 8.5% of income. And Schumer said that every single Democrat would support this. What's the chance of this legislation actually passing? Not good. Many GOP senators, they want the ACA funds to just go away. They're saying this is something that came about during the COVID pandemic and it's not needed anymore. Tell that to the person who's going to wind up paying almost $25,000 a year more for their health insurance. Now, Democrats could go after a compromise position, which stands a somewhat realistic chance of earning 60 votes needed to advance in the Senate, or they could seek an extension that wouldn't pick up enough support from Republicans, but would force GOP members to take a hit politically, since we're going into the midterms next year. If millions of Americans due to see their health care premiums go up, and if the finger of blame is pointing at you, well, you're in for an unhappy time if you're running for re-election. On the House side, we have Speaker Mike Johnson saying that his fellow Republicans want Obamacare to die. And from the White House, to the surprise of nobody, a mixed message. Trump said he's in favor of a short-term extension of ACA subsidies, but then in the next moment, he wants to give you money to buy your own health care insurance, kind of overlooking the fact that if you go out as an individual, you're going to pay significantly more than if you're part of a large group buying in bulk. Think Sam's Club or Costco or something like that. But as far as that giving you money to buy your own insurance, what are the details about that plan? Come on now, one concept of a plan at a time, please. We're still waiting for the concept of the plan Trump said he had back in the debates last year. We're told by school districts all through New Jersey that school bullying is being dealt with. It's being responded to. It's being addressed. You be the judge in this case. Parents of a former middle school student at Hohokus Public Schools, they filed a lawsuit saying the district did nothing to protect their daughter who was bullied for being overweight and for having anxiety issues. According to court papers, student was called the Titanic repeatedly, harassed during lunch and recess, mocked for having obsessive-compulsive disorder. Now, the girl's mother did email the school official to report the name-calling, but a bullying investigation was never initiated by the school. And according to the complaint, students bullied the girl through the 4th and 5th grades over her appearance and anxiety issues. They have a timeline here. January 3rd, 2023, the girl's mother emailed a teacher and principal to report her daughter was being bullied and was becoming physically ill over it. Despite those complaints, the school officials, according to the suit, they took no meaningful action to not even discipline the other students doing this. At the end of the 5th grade, the girl was given an individualized education program. It's called an IEP, after being diagnosed with anxiety and the OCD that I mentioned. As an accommodation under that program, the girl was taken out of class, given extended time to take tests. And in September 2024, another student mocked the girl's disabilities in class. According to the suit, the student pretended to pick her eyebrows and asked classmate, "Who am I?" making fun of the girl being bullied. Another student mocked the girl for her IEP, allegedly telling her she only gets good grades because she received special accommodations. Then we moved to October 14th of last year. Girl's mother again emailed school officials, reported a student for mimicking, insulting, and engaging in a variety of behaviors that are clearly resembling bullying. District again failed to do any investigation about this, take action to protect this child from other students, which, by the way, that's just a blatant violation of the state anti-bullying laws. As a result, the harassment, intimidation, bullying of the girl continued. Throughout November, December of last year, fellow students kept making comments about the girl's weight, again calling her the Titanic. December 6, 2024, girl's mother again emailed school officials, said that her daughter was texting her from school that she wants to come home and all this other scary stuff. You guessed it. District did not initiate an investigation and once again failed to comply with state laws and its own policies against bullying, according to the lawsuit. Then earlier this year, another student started harassing the girl, calling her a whale, a bowling ball, and taking pictures of her without her knowledge at school. February 27th of this year, the mother again emailed school officials telling them her daughter refuses to come to school because she feels targeted and unsafe. March 5th, the mother emailed the district once again, this time asking to speak with someone at the school. She claimed that other students were ostracizing her daughter, meaning shutting her out, pushing her away, not letting her be included in any way, shape, or form with what's going on in the classroom, telling other children not to play with her at recess. This again according to the lawsuit. Then on March 16th, the mother once again emailed the district to tell them her daughter would no longer be attending the school. That last email was sent after classmates again taunted the kid by telling her she would break the seesaw due to her weight, and once again shut her out from the lunch tables, which caused her to hide in the bathroom. According to the lawsuit, the district's failure to protect the girl from bullying caused, quote, severe physical and mental emotional harm. Sue claims a hostile environment in violation of state laws against discrimination, along with violations of the New Jersey Civil Rights Act. No comment from the Ho-Hocus Public School District. Did you know, however, that schools are examined for how they are responding, the policies they're setting up for bullying and the issues that come of it? Who does the assessment of these efforts? The schools. That's right. New Jersey schools self-evaluate their bullying policies and responses. It's called the HIB score. I have the sheet here from the Ho-Hocus School District. You have to publicly post it. And the HIB programs, approaches, or other initiatives, training on the approved HIB policy, staff instruction, things like that. So what did the Ho-Hocus School District most recently give themselves? Now, the maximum possible HIB score for a school in New Jersey is 78. What do you think Ho-Hocus School District gave themselves? 77. We celebrate our military veterans on Memorial Day, Veterans Day, with things like parades, ceremonies, other activities. When those respective days finish, and we go on with our personal lives, how much of that remembrance for our veterans do we actually maintain and carry with us the other days of the year? Is our remembrance active or is it passive? Our first guest today joins us to discuss how our showing of appreciation to our veterans absolutely needs to be an active one, and the ways the organization she is a part of makes that possible. She's Communication Director with the Wreaths Across America, whose annual Escort to Arlington is happening this coming week with several stops in New Jersey. Amber Caron, how are you today, Amber?
Hi, thanks for having me on.
WreathsAcrossAmerica.org is the website. Find out more about all the work, not just in what's coming up with the Escort to Arlington, but all the various programs, education, the connection to what our veterans are worthy of and what they mean. But let us start with the most closest to us, the Escort to Arlington. Talk about what the program is all about, what this event is all about, and we'll look at some of the stops happening this week in New Jersey.
Wonderful, yeah. So the Escort to Arlington is, we call it, I mean, it's not official, but we believe it to be one of the world's largest veterans parades. Maybe the longest, I think that's fair to say. We, this weekend, starting on Sunday, December 7th, which is Pearl Harbor Day, we will be starting down the East Coast from Harrington, Maine, which is the down east region of Maine, which is where all of the wreaths all the balsam is harvested to make the veterans wreaths that are placed all across the country. We will have 10 tractor trailers, 11 Chevy wrap vehicles carrying Gold Star families, Blue Star families, veterans, partners from our many veteran service organizations, and supporters all down the East Coast, probably about 200 people with all of our law enforcement that's traveling with us. And each day we are going to stop approximately 3 to 4 stops per day, Chris. There will be a school every day down the East Coast for a full week on our way to Arlington National Cemetery, where we will place wreaths along with 5,600 plus other locations across the country on Saturday, December 13th. The purpose of the escort is really to bring attention to patriotism, bring attention to our mission, which is to remember, honor, and teach. We feel it's very important to be in the schools and to help the youth understand what service means, what service looks like, meet veterans, meet Gold Star family members, hear the stories of these people's lives and why they chose to serve our country. And it's a great way for communities to come in together all down the East Coast and celebrate our nation's military and their families, really, because their families are truly a critical piece to this whole picture. And if you're not military, it's difficult to fully understand that, but when someone serves, the whole family serves. So it's a very emotional week for our escort participants, but it's a very meaningful one. And we have some fantastic stops in New Jersey that we're looking for. We'll be in New Jersey on Wednesday, December 10th and Thursday, December 11th. There's a lot of stops in New Jersey, actually.
Yes.
Which is awesome. 4 stops.
I like the part, too, where you make it a point to stop at a school, because so many schools, I know it sounds weird to say this, but the Vietnam War, for example, that is almost considered to be ancient history and is being taught less and less. And maybe the Gulf War isn't that far away from being looked at in that manner as well. I had a conversation some time ago with the question being, is September 11th an event or is it already history? And when it becomes history, I think as soon as something becomes history, the understanding of the human side of the activity and the impact of what was experienced by the men and women in our military, that's put at risk, because it becomes more and more distant from the people in the here and now, and you're helping keep that distance as close as possible.
Exactly. I mean, you couldn't have said it better, honestly, Chris, because that's just it. I mean, think about this. I mean, I have a 16-year-old and 19-year-old, and they don't do anything in their school about 9/11, which is disturbing to me on a level that I can't even begin to talk to you about. But these kids they're so removed from what it means to serve this country. And You think about the greatest generation during World War II, and everyone at home and abroad was serving in some capacity because it was a collective effort. And now our youth is just very removed. And I think you have to hear those stories of service and why it matters. I mean, we have a lot of Vietnam veterans traveling with us on the escort. We are commemorative partners of the Vietnam War commemoration, and we're official welcome home partners. So we make a point to welcome home Vietnam veterans wherever we are able to meet them. And I think it's important for kids to understand these were kids. They were kids themselves, when they had to go. And in many cases, they had to go because there was a draft, and it changed the course of their lives, many for the better, many not so. And it's important to understand that and to understand how that has impacted our country and probably the lives of people in their family that they don't even understand. So we do feel that it's a really big piece of our program. It's the biggest piece, I think, the teach part.
With Amber Caron, who is the Communications Director of Wreaths Across America, wreathsacrossamerica.org, their website. You're listening to Issues and Ideas. They're in the midst of, they're about to begin this coming week at various stops in New Jersey, for example, Jersey City, Holmdel, Manalapan, and on Thursday in Lumberton. You can find out more if you're listening on the radio here in New Jersey. And if you're listening on the podcast further down south, as the route progresses down, you can find out all the information of locations and times at wreathsacrossamerica.org. And again, you're listening to Issues and Ideas. Talk about the wreaths, Amber, because there is a symbolism. This isn't one of the little rinky-dink wreaths that you see at the gas station for sale for $5 on the night before Christmas when you say, "Oh my God, I forgot the wreath."
Yeah, no, these are mail order quality wreaths. They're all handmade here in Maine. All the bows are handmade here in Maine. It's a year-round process to make all the bows for all these wreaths. The wreath is, I'll say this, obviously Wreaths Across America, it's in our name, it's inherent in what we do. The wreath is the catalyst, right? The wreath is the thing that brings people together in their communities across the country. We are not decorating graves, Chris, which is why it's important that it's a living wreath and not a plastic decoration. There's a lot of symbolism to the wreath. We do have on our website, we've actually put together what is a veteran's wreath, and each veteran's wreath is made of 10 what we call balsam bouquets, and each one represents a different characteristic or trait of our service members, and it's very meaningful. And we've put together a lot of thought into this. These are not Christmas wreaths; they're veterans wreaths. This is not about religion. This is not about politics. This is about honoring those who serve. And when you place those wreaths, it's really important that you stop and say the name of that person, because when you stop saying their name, that's when someone is forgotten. So even if it's a one time a year, think about it. I mean, we're going into our 250th year as a country. Still relatively young, but in 250 years, I guarantee you that a lot of our service members who are laid to rest over these last 250 years don't have somebody to come visit them on a regular basis, right? Their families probably not checking their gravesite anymore. And it's important for those people to still be remembered. They're part of our history. They're part of what made this country what it is. And so it's important to stop, say their name, maybe do a little research. This is where it's a great opportunity. Take a kid by the hand, take them to a cemetery to place a wreath on National Wreaths Across America Day and look up that person, talk about their life. Where did they serve? Why did they serve? And that's a great teaching tool for kids to understand. One of the biggest things for me, I remember placing a wreath in Normandy in 2018, placing wreaths there, and I couldn't get over how young everybody was. I mean, we're talking 16, 17, 18-year-olds. I mean, almost half the cemetery. I mean, it's just incredible to me. I mean, these are kids. I have kids that age, The thought of them fighting in war is just can't even comprehend. So it's important to stop and do that. And the wreath gives people the catalyst to do that, right? So it's a beautiful Maine balsam handmade wreath with a red bow. And they're placed with care by volunteers all over the country. This year we're expecting just over 3 million wreaths.
Wow.
To go to about 5,600 participating locations, which is 700 new locations since last year, which is incredible. And I think the reason for that growth, Chris, and talking to people, is that they participated last year at another location, and they said, I want to bring this to my community. I want to make sure the veterans and the service members and the families in my community are honored. And so they bring it back to their community, and they get started there. And that's why it continues to grow, because it's something that collectively, no matter your background, your politics, I think we can all agree that our service members are deserving of our taking a moment one time a year.
Deserving, worthy, and we owe it to them. It's our debt, and we have to pay that debt. And there's so many ways that your organization makes that possible. And I was really lifted up, and you talk about the locations. There's cemeteries of all sizes. I mean, Arlington, of course, is the biggest one. But you look through New Jersey, pick a state, and they're all different sizes. And one thing I noticed was the smaller cemeteries went way over their goals of the wreaths that they needed. Mm-hmm. That was awesome to see.
Yeah, and a lot of those cemeteries, and again, just so everyone listening knows, all of these cemeteries are run by local volunteers. This is a very volunteer-heavy organization. Everything is done by volunteers. We have a very small staff nationwide, and we're so grateful for these people. And what they do, a lot of these folks who go over on their goals for their smaller cemeteries, they donate those extra wreaths that are sponsored to a larger cemetery, maybe a national cemetery in their community, maybe Arlington. And that's important because it's all collectively. This is not a competition among fundraising or among cemeteries. We're trying to honor and remember as many service members as possible. And if we're helping each other do that, we're going to make sure that happens. So it's great to see.
And this is why your support for Wreaths Across America. That's how this program is possible each and every year, along with the mobile education exhibit, the museum that they operate, the Gold Star Family Hospitality House. It just goes way beyond momentary recognition. It prolongs the opportunity to, as I say, for all of us who didn't serve, to pay the debt that we owe to everyone of all eras that served in honor and duty, and to be able to be educated with facts instead of politics, facts instead of conspiracies about these men and women who showed more courage than, quite frankly, way too many of us could even fantasize about having, and survived as best they can for as long as they could. Tragedy, yes. Prosperity, yes. There's no cookie-cutter military life, but there is a need to respect and honor those who lived and fought for our military, and that's what the work of Wreaths Across America allows you to accomplish. Find out more about the Escort to Arlington path that they are taking, along with various ways that you can become a part of the organization, help them grow even more, recognize more veterans even more. Wreathsacrossamerica.org. We've been talking with the Communications Director, Amber Caron. Amber, thank you for how you help us pay that debt to our men and women, our heroic men and women. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Chris, and for letting us share this mission with so many of your listeners, and we're very grateful.
While the economic times have become challenging for a growing number of people, it's become more so for Black and brown individuals and families. Yet, as we well know, needs don't decrease during challenging times. Right, they increase. There's left families wondering how they'll just take care of daily necessities. That leaves anything to do with the Christmas celebration as a maybe at best. The next guest joins us to tell how you, I'm pointing at you, can play a part in changing this situation for these families. She founded and heads a program which helps individuals and families in need in a variety of ways all year long. She is the founder of the Black Fairy Godmother Foundation. Simone Gordon, thanks for being here today, Simone.
Thank you so much for having me.
The blackfairygodmother.org is the website to find out more about the organization's work, and equally as important, the role you can play in it. And as we speak, Simone, we're about halfway through your 10th annual Christmas Wish List campaign. Talk about what the campaign sets out to do and who the folks are that you're helping out and how the people can join in with that help.
Absolutely. So the Christmas Wish List campaign, everyone has Christmas and they have these drives, and a lot of kids have wishes. But what people fail to realize is when you go to a lot of the Christmas campaigns, children are getting either a stuffed animal or they're getting a small toy. Children who are experiencing hardship don't understand hardship. So we wanted to change that. So we asked each child to write us 3 wishes, and we actually have our followers, or more so supporters, grant those wishes because it's not the child's fault. Some people are actually losing their jobs right now. Some people had to choose rent and food over groceries this year due to the hard economic times. So we decided to broaden the Angel Christmas Wish campaign. Many children are in need of beds. Some are sleeping on the floor. Many of them need coats. And we asked all the children to put on Amazon gift list or Target or even Walmart so that it gets shipped directly to the kids. So all you have to do is go to our website, www.theblackfairygodmother.org, click on ways to give, and there's so many families in various states where you can give to.
And you've really streamlined it, too, because this is one of those times a year when if things are really working out for a person, I'm hoping they're saying, I'd like to help others, but other than, I guess, maybe the most visible way is the Salvation Army Red Buckets, I don't know how to make that connection. You help people find the way to make that connection, so props to you guys.
Thank you so much, and it's always a story behind it. Each child will have a story about their parents, their grandparents, or anyone who is raising them, and we post it on social media, and we have people just go ahead and just make a difference.
I think by doing it this way, too, it adds the humanity to the equation as opposed to reading about, well, we need toys, we need books, we need whatever. You're putting the human into the picture, not just the object, which is really what this time of year is all about, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes.
So when someone, take us through a little more detail with the steps now. When someone goes to your website, we have a link at the homepage, too, for the blackfairygodmother.org. What are some of the options? Describe what actions people can take, because not everyone can give a bed, but someone can give something smaller but equally as significant based on the child's wishes.
Absolutely. If you go to Ways to Give, there are different variety of wish lists with different families and different children. Most of the wishes are under $50. Sometimes if someone is requesting a bed, we most likely will fundraise it, or someone can make just a regular charitable donation towards any bed for a child by clicking the cute purple button, donate. So we try to make it affordable as possible. Toys that range from $10 to all the way up to $50 because some kids are, teenagers. And that way you could just choose what you can give because everybody, of course, don't have $20 or $50. They may have 11 or they may have 20. Or they may have something else that they can probably donate. They might have an extra brand new coat that their child has, and they just want to give it away. They can also contact our hotline, and we will make that dream come true for that child as well.
And you can find out more at theblackfairygodmother.org. We're talking with Simone Gordon, the founder of the Black Fairy Godmother Foundation, and you are listening to Issues and Ideas. Your story, I think, is a testimony to perseverance as well as giving back for when things go bad but turn around, because that kind of sums up a significant part of your time where you could have just thrown up your hands, accepted the bad that was happening, and tried to survive it, but instead you fought to overcome it.
I sure have. I have a son that has severe autism, and around the time that he was diagnosed, I lost my job at a Fortune 500 company. And of course, you got to go and apply to social services and many nonprofits, but they were letting me down. So I went to social media for help and asked people, where can I get resources? And there were just regular people who were following me, about 4 people who decided to take a chance on me. My mentor who passed away, Kimberly Rumberg, of brain cancer last year, who helped me create the foundation, actually helped me get back into school, and I graduated with my biology degree. And there was another person who said, I don't have money, but that I can complain real good on LinkedIn. And she was able to write a letter to Children's Hospital to help my son get resources. So there's many ways to give. It don't always have to be monetary. Just by talking to someone for 2 to 3 minutes, you can actually change their life. So that's how the foundation actually started, was my hardship turned into many blessings for thousands of families across America.
And using social media for helping others as opposed to feeding an ego for yourself, which way too many people do as it is. And I mentioned back in the intro, too, that this isn't the only activity. The Black Fairy Godmother Foundation is active all year long. And one thing in particular I noticed, and there's a special section on our website for you listening, you hopefully well know that we've devoted for the issue of domestic violence. I've come to find that, especially the more localized domestic violence organizations, they're good with the immediate care, but that transitional housing, for example, that's a stumbling block for so many organizations. And, talking about stepping forward in teamwork, you in many ways help fill that void.
Absolutely. So what we do here, there are not many housing resources for women and children who are experiencing domestic violence. They are always put into a shelter, but there's always different steps that prolongs them from being stable and being safe. So we have a program that's called our domestic violence program, where we actually relocate the family, whether it's out of state or farther away from their abuser. We pay for the rental assistance, the security deposit. We even try to get them housing. And what we do is we will create a gift list for, our followers and supporters to help furnish the apartment as well. And that's to give them a new start. Legislators do not have enough programs to protect women and children when they are in that situation.
And for the victim of domestic violence to know as quickly as possible that they're not alone and the risk that they're fearing from their abuser, they have protection from, that goes a long way in their recovery.
Yes, it is. It takes a lot. And it takes a lot for the woman or the man who's being abused to get out of that situation. And many don't want to get out of that situation because they're scared for their children. They're like, if I get out of that situation, how will I know if my child will have a place to sleep? So, yeah.
The Black Fairy Godmother Foundation does food assistance. You do emergency assistance funding, birthday fundraisers, daily fundraisers. You've really utilized the tools that technology has made available to connect people with causes, connect people with needs to solutions. What are you hearing from people? Because when you look at statistics, especially with the current state of affairs, the unemployment and even more so the underemployment rate for Black and brown families is increasing at a frightening rate. Food assistance, I mentioned you have the programs. I know here in New Jersey, for example, many other states are going to be required to basically have all people on the SNAP program reapply, and people are fearing, well, if that program goes, I'm already in bad shape. How much worse can it get? What are you hearing from people right now? How afraid or how hopeful are people?
People are not hopeful. People are afraid. We have people who apply for our Angel Food Assistance Fund, which is a partnership with Instacart, and what we do is we deliver the food soon as the families are fully vetted, and we see that they're going through a hardship. They say to us, well, we have to pay our rent to be safe, be warm, but we have to feed our families. What are we going to do? And these are not just people who don't have employment. These are people who are employed, who work a 9 to 5. These are our janitors, our teachers, and some people who work in retail that are fearing that food insecurity is going to be big, because now you are able to go to a food pantry and get essentials for you and your family, but it's to the point where food pantries have been turning families away because they have a lack of funds and a lack of food to send over to them. So it's been scary. We have a lot of senior citizens who's been getting sick as well. They say, well, they'd rather have children eat rather than they will go and apply for food. And I tell them everybody deserves food no matter what. So that's some of the feedback that our hotline's been getting. Is very disheartening. It's very concerning on the future of America today, especially with food insecurity.
But they're turning to you and finding hope, and I think a lot of support and returning to security. I'm glad you said vetted, too, because there are so many ignorant people who hear about someone going for food assistance. They're just ripping off for my tax money. Well, you want to be stupid, go over in the corner and be stupid. There are people in need. And if you want to be a caring heart and bring some light into a dark situation for people, Black Fairy Godmother Foundation is one of the legitimate ways and effective ways by which you could do that. Find out more at theblackfairygodmother.org. Be a part of their 10th annual Christmas wish list campaign. Help support families who are in need and are deserving of happiness in light of the challenging times that they're facing. She is the founder of the Black Fairy Godmother Foundation, Simone Gordon. Simone, thank you for the work you do, the inspiration you give us to be a part of that work. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for spreading the joy.
It's time once again for Trump Said It.
There's this fake narrative that the Democrats talk about, affordability. They just say the word. It doesn't mean anything to anybody. Just say it. Affordability. The word affordability is a con job by the Democrats. Affordability is a Democrat scam. They say it, and then they go on to the next subject.
Deport them all. That's what some people say is the only response to illegal immigration. All right, if that's what you believe, then where do we get the money from to cover the cost of finding, apprehending, and deporting, latest estimate, around 13 million people? These same people are the ones who throw blanket statements out at undocumented immigrants, claiming that they're mostly violent criminals who are getting every government program benefit that exists. The reality, quite a bit different. Vast majority of undocumented immigrants came here for a better life. They're hardworking. They love America. The next guest is a member of the U.S. House of Representatives who has stepped forward with a realistic and very responsible solution to the illegal immigration issue. She presents ideas in two ways, actually. In the House, she introduced the Dignity Act of 2025, H.R. 4393, if you want to look it up. And she expands on her immigration solution and insight in her new book, Dignity, Not Citizenship, The Truth About Immigration No One Is Telling You. She is a Republican representative for Florida's 27th District, Representative Maria Elvira Salazar. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure to you. How are you doing?
Well, I'm pleased to bring your information, your ideas to as many people as possible, because it seems like, and you write about this in your book too, it's a historic headbutting that's been going on with immigration. What has been just a brief, what have been the common threads with the timeline? Why has so little been getting done as the problem continues to have grown since the Reagan administration?
Well, the problem here is that since the Reagan administration, we've had a problem with not having the border secured. And by not having the border secure, then you had all these people who were gaming the system and who were claiming political asylum. And in reality, many of them did not qualify. And then now we are in this situation where you have millions of undocumented people who do not have a criminal record, They are needed in construction, hospitality, agricultural, dairy farms. And then what are we going to do with them? Which is my eternal question. What are we going to do with those people who have been here for more than 5 years, who have families, American children, people who are part of our society and do not have a criminal record and then do not belong to any gang organizations? It's impossible to deport them all. So let's do what's Solomonic. Let's give them dignity, no citizenship, make them pay for their crimes, and let them stay in the country helping the economy.
We've seen that when Donald Trump returned to the Oval Office, obviously, as it was in his first term, immigration was a big issue, and the promise was to deport the worst of the worst. And I think we all can agree with that. That might be an actual bipartisan issue right there.
Yep.
It has been working out that way, at least by the visual. I don't know about...
No, it has not, and that's the big problem, that we're taking everybody. We're taking the bad hombres, and we're taking the good hombres. We're taking the people who are here helping the economy. And that's why we have the labor shortage that we have at this hour. That's why we have the problems that we're having at this hour when it comes to the economy, having the roofers and the manufacturers and the farmers not having enough workers to do the job. That's all I'm saying. Let them stay. Let them pay for their crime. Let them no federal programs, no right to vote, no right to any type of federal programs. But then at the same time, let them stay because they have friends.
Let's think about that for a second, because, again, like I said back in the introduction, a lot of people who are critical of illegal immigration saying that, again, the total misinformation that they're getting federal programs, these are people who are paying into the Medicare, the Medicaid system, the Social Security system. They're not getting any of those benefits. If you take them out of the situation, what's that going to do to the financial stability of those programs, which are already shaky to begin with?
Look, some are and some are not. We're talking about millions and millions of people.
Sure.
Oh, that's some of them, of course. Yeah, I'm sure it's some of them. But I would say not the overwhelming majority of the illegals are in the federal system. They're not. Most of them are not. I'm sure some are, but it's not the big bulk. The big bulk is in construction, hospitality, and agricultural, and giving their labor every day in jobs that other Americans are not willing to do. So, get them off the rolls of the federal programs. No problem. We'll still need them. That's the problem. We still need them.
So let's get into the ideas of your program and the Dignity Act 2025, because I think if you had to put a key word to this, it would be compromise. Would that be fair?
No. What would be fair would be just to bring them out of the shadows, period.
Sure.
Let them stay. Let them pay for their crime. Let them stay here, work some more, pay taxes. Let them just stay, period. And don't give them any right to citizenship. Don't give them any amnesty. Don't give them any federal programs. Make them pay $7,000 in fine plus another 1% of their salaries, and let them stay for 7 years and then apply for another 7 years. And we're going to generate trillions of dollars for the economy, trillions of dollars in the next 10 years. That's what I'm looking at. Besides national security, we will know who our neighbor is. On top of that, the border is secured. Let's codify border security in this. The dignity law has the border security component. So it's Solomonic. It's in the middle. It's not perfect, but it's the best we've had in the last 40 years. It can definitely garnish bipartisan support. I have 15 and 15 Dems, 15 Republicans supporting the Dignity Act.
All right.
And it's a major problem in the country. It's a number one, and is going to send the largest minority in the country a very big message welcoming them to the GOP and telling them that they have the same values that are entrenched in the Republican Party, which are God-fearing, law-abiding, tax-paying, family-oriented, church-goers. Bring them into the fold.
So Representative Maria Elvira Salazar, Republican, Florida 27th District, about her Dignity Act of 2025, which you can, if you want to look up the actual legislation, it is H.R. 4393. And, of course, her book, Dignity, Not Citizenship, The Truth About Immigration No One Is Telling You. You're listening to Issues and Ideas. E-Verify. Talk about how that can be utilized. Because
E-Verify, mandatory. Not voluntary like now.
Or, some states do, some states don't. It's got to, that's the other problem, too.
Come on.
Well, that's the other problem, too. We've been putting the E-Verify onus on the illegal immigrant, and short of a rare exception, businesses who do illegal hiring, they've gotten away without any kind of penalties.
Of course. Specifically the business owners.
Yeah,
It's been going on for years. This has been going on for years. Come on, it's like it's time to put some order into this.
So how do you sell the idea then? Because as you point out, and this is I think one of the key points, you write that border security isn't immigration. They have a connection, but one doesn't equal the other. You can, and we already are in the process of strongly addressing, obviously, border security, but that doesn't address immigration.
And that's correct. One thing is border security, another thing is immigration. Border security has been an issue that is part of immigration, but is not the same thing. Is not the same thing.
And it's also,
so that's why we fixed border security with an executive order. We need to codify it into law.
Right, because executive orders can be erased just as fast as they've been written.
Of course. And then the next guy who's sitting at the White House can say, well, I don't like this policy, so let me just open the borders, which is exactly what Biden did when Trump won left. And so people think, oh, yeah, the border security, yeah, it is now. And then what about in 28? So let's put an end to the border issue and the caravans and all that BS. Let's just then seal the border forever, and let's deal with the people who are here who will not be deported because we don't have enough hands, enough agents. And let's give the mandate to ICE to do what they do best, which is to catch the bad guys and concentrate on the bad guys, whether they are illegals or legals. It doesn't matter. Get them out. But leave the people who are on the fields and construction, hospitality, dairy, slaughterhouses, greenhouses, carnivals, healthcare, all those people who are definitely contributing to the economy. Leave them alone. Give them dignity, no citizenship, no amnesty. Let them pay for their crimes. Post a big fine, big taxes, and let them stay. So everyone wins.
Well, it's just balancing the scale where a legal immigrant was avoiding certain responsibilities. You have a plan to help them equate everything and put everything back into some sort of balance. And we have to end the segment here, but this would only apply if you've been here before 2021. So what Representative Salazar is doing is she's creating a path to bring the problem to a slowing down, at least initially, if not a complete end, eventually through mandatory E-Verify and limiting the turning down the neon lights on the welcome mats that others before the current administration have ignited, I guess we'd say, and to bring just sensible compromise into the discussion as opposed to political headbutting, which has just prolonged and allowed the problem to fester and grow to the degree it has, as we see in the here and now. She writes about this in great detail and puts the human side into it, not just the political side, and dignity, citizenship. And look up the Dignity Act of 2025. It's H.R. 4393. Representative Maria Elvira Salazar, you have brought common sense to what has been a historically difficult, challenging issue. And I hope you're going to wake a lot more than the 30 you have up to realize that there is a solution.
Thank you.
And
of course there is. Of course there is. It's just political willingness. It's just showing political willingness. Believe you me, it's frustrating sometimes because I see the solution so easily accessible, and it's not perfect, but it's very Solomonic, and it's really very hard at this hour. But I do have hope that the GOP will wake up before the midterm elections.
Again, Dignity, Not Citizenship. Get the book because it will educate you.
And I have a book, on Amazon. You can go to Amazon, Dignity, Not Citizenship, the truth about immigration that no one is telling you.
Thank you, Representative, for being here.
My pleasure to you, and thank you for the opportunity. Big hugs. Bye-bye.
Jesus tells us this in John chapter 10, verse 27. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. Are you a follower of Jesus Christ? Are you always a follower of Jesus, or when times are tough, do you turn your head and your heart away from him only to be overtaken by the earthly? Jesus warns us against this path in Luke chapter 17, verse 23. And they will say to you, look here, or look there. Do not go after them or follow them. Jesus expects and deserves to be first. Since all comes from and through him, why should he be anything else but first? Jesus declares this in Matthew chapter 10, verses 37 through 39. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me, and he who does not take his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. He who finds his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake will find it. Does that sound harsh and maybe even heartless to you? But let's read his words again. Listen a little more carefully. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me, and he who does not take his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. He who finds his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake will find it. Does Jesus call on us to reject or abandon our parents or children for him? No, of course not. Jesus does call on us to turn away from our earthly life in order to live a full spiritual life through him. Jesus gives us another example of the earthly versus the spiritual through what he tells Peter in John chapter 13, verse 35. Simon Peter said to him, Lord, where are you going? And Jesus answered him, Where I am going, you cannot follow me now, but you shall follow me afterward. Jesus not only repeats this truth, but expands on it for our inspiration and direction. This is in John chapter 12, verses 25 and 26. He who loves his life will lose it, and he who hates his life in this world will keep it for eternal life. If anyone serves me, let him follow me, and where I am, there my servant will be also. If anyone serves me, him my Father will honor. Think of following Jesus as entering into a contract. You've just heard, and you can study even further, how the contract calls on us to give our full devotion to Jesus, while Jesus promises us an eternity in his love. It's not a contract that burdens us. It's a contract that brings us closer to him. Sounds good to me. How about you? There's no ambiguity in the word of Jesus. There's no need for a court to make any kind of interpretation. In fact, as we read the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, we come to realize what Jesus' favorite word is, assuredly. Here are just a few of the many examples. Jesus states this in Mark chapter 9, verse 41, For whoever gives you a cup of water to drink in my name, because you belong to Christ, assuredly I say to you, he will by no means lose his rewards. We have these words from Jesus in Luke chapter 18, verse 17, Assuredly I say to you, whoever does not receive the kingdom of God as a little child will by no means enter it. One more. After a woman uses expensive oil to anoint Jesus as a showing of devotion to him, Jesus says this in Matthew chapter 26, verse 13. Assuredly I say to you, wherever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will also be told as a memorial to her. And when we sign any contract, we do it with the expectation that as we give, we are going to receive. And this is abundantly true with our devotion to and faith in Jesus. When we place and keep him first in all things, his promise to us is going to come to us. This promise is found in John chapter 14, verses 1 through 4. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. And where I go, you know, and the way you know. Now, this isn't to say that you don't have options, because you do. You can reject all the Jesus promises in exchange for being first in your life. Father God has given you the free will to do just that. You can sign a completely different agreement on a second line under a line that's already been signed by Satan. Don't forget to check out our website, issuesandideasradio.com. You'll find more information about the guests who joined us here on the show today. We have new entries in our Classic Conversation and New York City Radio Museum page on the homepage. A few additions to the downloads page. You'll find all that and more at issuesandideasradio.com. Always thankful and grateful for your time and attention. Very valuable and important to us. Look forward to being with you right here this time next week for our next edition of Issues and Ideas.